Hey guys, this is Ryan from Spiker Workshop, and before I get into the Wanhao Duplicator 7, which is what this video is about, I just wanted to quick kind of introduce myself for any of you who don't know me. I run a 3D printing shop with my custom built printers here. Check out some links and stuff down below. But with these machines, I make and sell like 3D printed snowblowers and like RC stuff. I use 0.8mm nozzles, so all my prints are really quick, but like high strength and stuff. I also have a DaVinci Pro that's converted to have all these same exact electronics that those have, and 3 more waiting till next winter because no more snowblower sales this year. And this is the stuff that I custom built. Like, I designed all this stuff from scratch and used those printers I just showed you to make all this stuff. 3D printed snowblower actually works. Yeah, you guys check out my YouTube channel to take a look at all sorts of other videos I have on this stuff. And here we are with my Wanhao Duplicator 7. I'm sorry for that kind of random introduction, but I just wanted to show you guys that I have a lot of experience with 3D printing already, even though it's not with DLP specifically. But I kind of wanted to make this video to just share my experiences so far with this machine. I know like many people on the Facebook group are having just crazy amounts of issues with this thing. I myself did too. When I first got this, it was probably about 2 weeks ago. Or no, it was about a month ago I got this in the mail with a cracked screen. It was really messed up screen. I couldn't use it worth anything, so I had to wait for the replacement screen in the mail. Got the replacement screen in the mail, and it still didn't work. And what it was inside the main HDMI LCD controller board. I hear there's 2 different versions where one blinks green or one blinks blue. I don't really know the difference, but the one I have is green, I think. But on that board, no light was coming on at all. So what it ended up being was there's a little tiny fuse on the board, and I'll put a link in the description linking it to this Facebook post that helped me figure out how to fix that. But this little fuse on the board, you had to solder a jumper wire to it, because for some reason that fuse kept blowing. So after I fixed that, I finally got the printer running. And shortly thereafter, I switched the whole printer to use that Nano DLP that a lot of people are talking about with the Raspberry Pi. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, I'll kind of explain it quickly because I didn't have a clue before I looked into it. But a Raspberry Pi is basically a mini computer that has Wi-Fi, and I'm currently running it on Ethernet. It has like USBs and even audio and HDMI out. So what you use that for, it basically frees up your computer. So the screen in here acts like another monitor for your computer. So you'd either have to like keep pop-ups or keep your mouse off of that screen when you're printing. You know, there's all sorts of things that could screw up with it. So the Pi makes it so the Pi handles everything for you over a web browser. And I'm actually using this Amazon Fire tablet to control it. But this is what Nano DLP is, if you hear people talking about it. This web browser is running through the Pi, which is then controlling the printer. And I really like it because you can check it. You can check it from your phone or from your other computer or stuff like that. But it was tricky to set up because there's quite a lot of steps involved. But there's it's a 3dprinterwiki.com. I'll try to put a link in that in the video also. So I kind of also wanted to share with you guys some of the slight mods that I've done so far, which isn't really many. But my first easiest mod was, I noticed I still want to do something more, but this thing gets really warm after you print for a long time. It just doesn't seem like it has adequate cooling. So what I would recommend doing at the very least is propping it up on something else, because the fan intake is underneath the printer. So I figured if it was slightly raised up more, it might help suck more air in there. But I would like to put either like a stronger fan in it, or maybe cut out the back vents to be larger or something. Because I don't know for sure, but I know a lot of people's UV bulbs have been failing, or the drivers. I don't know, it could be both. But I think it has a lot to do with just the heat buildup in the machine. Because I live in Minnesota here, where right now it's actually pretty cool out, so even in this room it's cool. So I can't imagine, you know, people down where it's, you know, actually hot already. It probably is affecting the temperature inside your machine. And then another mod I did was on Amazon. I bought these Z couplers. I seen someone suggested to use one that's flexible. That's what's currently in here right now. I think it's slightly better, but I haven't really printed enough to know for sure, because I've switched back and forth. This is the stock one that it comes with. These particular ones that I got from Amazon, they have set screws, so it's kind of like it makes it flexible, but the set screw always has the shaft just slightly offset. So it'd be nice to find one that clamps and is flexible, because these clamping ones center the shaft like near perfectly, you know. But currently I've got a print running. I don't know if you can notice in the camera, but it's actually slightly off-centered, because I also had a lot of issues with the FEP, which is the film underneath the vat that you print on. While I was waiting for my LCD screen, the replacement in the mail, I ordered 10 sheets of FEP from that FEP shop, and when they got here I decided to just swap out the stock one, just because, and it was kind of difficult to do that. The one that's currently in here I didn't apply like tight enough where you like stretch it across the vat, so I have actually a wrinkle that appeared in the middle right now. I'm just trying to print around it until I can put in another sheet, because I think I'm on my 5th sheet already. So anyone who wants to, or is looking at ordering these, I would definitely order a bunch of those FEP sheets ahead of time. This is the resin that I'm currently using. It's fun to do. There's their website right there. Fun to do industrial blend unpigmented resin. And this is the stock resin that the D7 came with. I think it's white. I haven't actually used this yet. But from what even though I haven't actually tried the non-clear resins, just what I've kind of found to be the case, at least looking on, you know, other people's results, is that the clear stuff, even though it may not look all that great because it's kind of like yellowy clear, but the clear stuff lets the UV light like shine through it, so you can print with this stuff much faster. I think right now my print time per layer is only 4 seconds. Or actually it might be 6. It's either 6 or 4 seconds, because I'm doing a 25 micron print right here. But I know with the opaque resins you gotta slow it down a little, maybe like 10 or 12, 15 seconds or so. But for me it's worth going faster to use this clear stuff. I'll probably end up painting stuff, you know, once I'm using something like a model or something. But right now I'm printing one of those test rook pieces. Also, one more thing I wanted to touch on. I know a couple people on the forums kind of had difficulties with that supplied tool that they give you. Anytime I either change my FEP sheet out, or I've kind of found like a sweet spot on mine where every time I screw this back in up here, it always kind of goes in the same spot, so I know it's good. But if yours doesn't feel like that, you know, it's not too much of a hassle to level the bed for each print, or, you know, maybe occasionally. But what I do is I'll home the machine, or before you home the machine, I'll unscrew those 4 screws, home the machine down, and then I'll like lightly push down on the opposite corners. Just lightly hold it down while I tighten each screw. And another thing to note, which I had to do on mine, this, let me get you a closer view here. Sorry about that. This bracket that actually holds the bed on, it's like a U shape. There we go. Yeah, this like U shape part. On mine, it was actually bent slightly outwards, so it was like this, just slightly. So when I was screwing in the screws, it put weird forces on where it was actually having to like pinch that U in. So I took all my screws completely off the thing with this off the machine, you know, and I used my vice grip to actually clamp that U shape to be more parallel. So when you put these screws in on each end, it doesn't put like weird pinching forces, because it almost looked like it was like pinching it downwards into the bed. I would recommend you guys take your screws off and just check if when you back these off, if the aluminum like springs outwards a little, then you guys should probably do that too. Also, another thing that I've seen a couple of people not do, which they need to make sure to do, is before you even fill up your resin vat, you know, it's all empty, take the vat off, the LCD screen underneath, I have some electrical tape running. I seen someone on the Facebook group did this, and I'm glad I seen it, because what you do is you put the electrical tape going up over the LCD screen, you know, keep it away from the actual screen, but around that trim. So that way, when you remove the vat in the future, your panel doesn't get lifted up out of the machine, because while I was removing my cracked LCD panel, when I was trying to put it back in the machine, just to like let it, to keep it there until I got the new one, I accidentally ripped the ribbon cable on the LCD. They're like extremely, extremely fragile. So if you happen to lift this up and it like sucks the LCD up with it, there's a very easy chance that it would tear or rip that ribbon cable off the screen, which means you're like screwed and out of luck at that point. So putting this tape down is like, you know, make sure that screen does not lift up out of there, because nothing actually holds it down. So another thing is, I would recommend picking up some kind of like really coarse like syringe like this, because I had this laying around and I found it really easy for when I needed to change the FEP out, or sometimes I'll just drain the tank if I know I'm not going to use this for a couple days. Instead of actually dumping the tank, because I don't know how anyone else does this, I've never tried it without this yet, but if you guys are trying to dump the tank back into your bottle, this is like 100 times cleaner. You just suck the resin out, you know, and squirt it in back in the jug. Saves a lot of hassle. And you'll notice I have the lights in the room on, which I would not recommend doing. I just had them on for the video. But I normally print like this. I have a lamp behind the printer that's just bouncing light off the wall. I figure it's less likely to start curing the resin, but I haven't really worried about it too much. I have my lid. I actually hung up a little shelf up here. I have my lid up on a shelf, so you know, whenever I'm not in here, I'll put the lid back on it. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys some prints that I've done now. So here's what I've been using for like my post-processing and curing and stuff. I'll leave some links down below to where I got these two products. They were on Amazon. This is an ultrasonic cleaner. It basically, I think, uses like a transducer to basically vibrate whatever's in this little water tank at a high frequency, so it like cleans anything off of it. It's good to use, you know, like right after you take your print out of your D7, you know, it has resin all over it, and if you go to try to cure them right away, you'll cure that resin on there. Even if there's like a slight film, you know, it'll add, you know, unwanted details on your thing. So this ultrasonic cleaner actually does a really good job on cleaning them. Hopefully it's not too loud on the camera. I'll just run it for like a second so you guys can see it or hear it. As the resin gets cleaned off of him. But yeah, once he's clean, I'll unplug that. But I just got water in here, by the way. I think there's a bunch of different things you can use, but I've just been using water so far. But then I'll take and use my air compressor, and I'll just, you know, blow off the remaining water that's on him, let him dry. But I already got a dry guy here, I'll just show you. And then this thing is actually just a nail polish curing thing. I got the one that is like the two-hand version, so it's a little bigger on the inside. But you can see it in the reflection on the floor. Up underneath there's 5 UV bulbs. And then I have a piece of acrylic that I used for like laser cutting stuff, just like scrap. But I think the acrylic works because when you got the guy in here, the light can bounce underneath him, because, you know, the acrylic leaves a little gap between him, so the, you know, the light bounces up and helps cure underneath. Well, it was already on. But yeah, and then I haven't actually figured out what time to leave them in here for yet. I've been doing 5 minutes twice, so like 10 minutes. I don't really have any recommendations for that. For me, 10 minutes seems to have them hard enough where you can't stick your fingernail into the resin. But, you know, I don't know if you can over cure prints or not. Maybe if someone leaves a comment down below, you can let us know. But from what I've seen so far, 5 to 10 minutes works good enough. But yeah, check in the links, or in the description down below for links for different stuff throughout the video. So here's some of the prints that I've been doing. This is pretty much everything I've printed since I got the machine, so, you know, I haven't had too much printing time, but I'm just, you know, sharing what I've experienced so far, like I said before. These were the very first things that I printed. If my camera can focus on that. They're little tiny ships from a video game called Halo, but they came out, I thought, really good for how tiny they are. It's like an 1.25 inches tall. But I've been noticing, you know, I by no means have it mastered myself, but I've been noticing a lot of people on the Facebook forums are just using like crazy amounts of support material. You know, for how expensive this resin is, I think people should, you know, figure out like different ways to print some of the stuff that they are. Like what I mean by that is, I think what it is that Creation Workshop, when you print something, it throws down this like massive pad underneath what you're printing, which is like completely not necessary at all. It just uses crazy amounts of resin. I don't have anything with supports on them here, but like these guys, for example, when I printed them at like 45-degree angles, and I probably only had like 3 or 4 little support sticks with little circle pads coming off of them, and I mean they printed just fine, just like that. I plan to make another video soon of like all my actual settings on the computer, but for now I'm just kind of doing like a rough overview. Also, I found it's best in general to try to design your models to not use support at all, because when I printed this, I actually printed it in half, and then I glued the halves together, but like each half, like this printed like this, and then this half printed like this. But I had support that was coming from the base up to these like engine cowlings here, and it took so much support to get them up there that's why all these engines look like really crappy. Is the support actually touched the walls while it was trying to get up to support that. And what I could have done is like go into the model and actually remove these engine cowlings, printed them on their own, because that little ring would have printed probably really nice just flat on the print bed, and then, you know, just glue them on afterwards. Certain areas, you know, support works, but I think like that whole raft that creation workshop does just doesn't seem necessary for what I've experienced. I'll try to post some exact links of like all my settings that I've been using. So I've been using Mesh Mixer to generate out the little tree support structure stuff. I find that works like 1,000 times better than the Creation Workshop place. Sorry, my camera keeps focusing in and out here. Here's a couple other things that I printed. If my camera will focus. These came out really sweet, I thought. They're almost like optically clear. And these were gears for one of my RC products that I sell. I plan to use these as like actual production pieces, but I don't know if this resin is actually strong enough, because I had printed a couple of these and I was like stress testing them, and the resin is strong, but I don't think it's quite strong enough to be used in really tough applications like for RC transmissions and stuff like that, because it seems like it's more brittle than it is like, you know, ABS has some flex and give to it. This particular resin kind of breaks before it starts flexing too much, but it's, you know, perfectly fine for models or stuff that isn't quite as demanding. And then this was my recent kind of experiment that I've been trying to figure out. One of those rooks I found on Thingiverse, they had like a rounded out bottom underneath it, and I was trying to print the rook, but I noticed that, because you can see the top is like pure surface area, this was what was basically sticking to the FEP, and then this part here was what was trying to hold on to the build, or the bed, and this surface area was much greater, so it kept sticking to the FEP and, you know, coming loose from the bed. And I printed a couple of these, and then I went in and changed the bottom to actually be flat, and then it actually got this far, and I ended up stopping it before it finished. But yeah, it seems to me like as long as the surface area on, like, touching your bed is greater than the rest of the model, it typically doesn't fall off. Kind of like how my gears are. You can see the surface area throughout the whole print is almost uniform, and these came out just fine. But it's, you know, if the bed had less surface area than the rest of the print, like what these did, then, you know, it seems to release. It's kind of a tip for, you know, like, say you're printing something that needs like a ton of support. If in Mesh Mixer you can adjust like the pad thickness of your support, as long as you have all the surface area that contacts your bed, you know, greater than the rest of the model, it shouldn't fall off. And that was another thing I wanted to mention too. When I was printing this ship, on the very, like, I printed it straight vertically like this. Oops. And underneath the ship there was two little circular engines. And the first couple times I tried printing this, trying to focus the camera again. First couple times I tried printing this, the engines were touching the bed, And it actually was not enough surface area to, like, you know, get removed from the bed, or from the FEP, I mean. So what happened was it would, like, lay down the first layer, and then when it lifted up, those little tiny circular engines stayed on the FEP. So then that messed up the entire print, because those actually were blocking the UV light from curing the rest of the print, you know? So what I ended up doing in Mesh Mixer, there's an option to offset the model upwards, and then support material comes up from underneath. So like one little support tree branch came and touched that little engine circle, and even though it still didn't really turn out that great, it did not get stuck to the FEP, and, you know, the print finished. So I'll try to make a video specifically on settings within the next couple days. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what else. This print had a lot of really teeny tiny parts on it, like these spikes in the back here, and they actually came out pretty sweet. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there's also two little tiny antennas right there. I mean, I gotta say, those are probably like one or two pixels wide. It's like the tiniest thing you could probably print with this machine. Sorry, my camera just doesn't want to focus on this thing. But yeah, another thing to think about too is with what model you're trying to print, it is well worth the time to figure out how to slice the model up to print it in multiple parts. Like this, I never would have tried to print as one solid piece, but you can see, like, where I cut it right here down the middle, it removes, like, from this upper half. I only had two tree branches going up. I accidentally broke them off already, but I had little tiny antennas sticking out on both sides. But you know, cutting the model up reduces your support significantly, which increases your, you know, output of printed parts, and it decreases chances of stuff, you know, not being supported well and all sorts of things. Or yeah, one other thing that I did on this is I actually hollowed out the inside of this too. So there's another benefit of splitting your models in half, is if you hollow the inside out on a model that's one solid piece, you need to have like a drain and an air intake hole somewhere on your print to let the resin drain, because that was the whole point of making it hollow, is to save the resin, you know. But when you cut your model in half and then make it hollow, like the halves that were joined together were already hollow, so when you remove it from the build platform, all the resin that was in here, like, just drains away. Like, you don't have to put holes in your models, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I might be starting to ramble here. I'll try to wrap it up. See if I can think of anything else. But yeah, one other thing. On this print particularly, I did not put enough support material. You can kind of notice, like, these engine things are different heights. Well, I had, like, I think some support trees going from here up to here, and I just didn't have enough. I think I only had like 2 branches, so one of them was starting to stick to the FEP, or I can't really understand what happened there, because it was like this. Yeah, it either was sticking to the FEP, or like the tree branches got stretched out or something. But yeah, sometimes more support is good. So it's there's a lot to printing these things, you know. Certainly the best things to print are stuff that just doesn't need support at all. Like this is a little Nexus from StarCraft, which is a computer game. Didn't need any support because it was just, you know, one thing. And that's kind of another quick thing before I get rambling too much. I know a lot of people do the thing where they rotate a model like 45 degrees, but you know, you don't have to do that to every single model you print. Like, I would recommend doing it like for figures, just because it leaves more resolution for their front-facing side. But you know, things like this is not too much surface area to release from your bed, as long as you kind of follow what I said before as like a little guide, where as long as the first layer is more surface area than the rest of the print, which it is on this, you should be good. Same with these little signs I printed. You know, printing this at a 45-degree angle would just be silly. These you can print flat. I accidentally chipped it when I was trying to get it off the platform though, but I probably was in a rush. You could probably do it a lot cleaner. But same with my gears. These I printed just flat on the printer. It doesn't take too much to pry them loose. And yeah, also this little ship stand that this guy's sitting on. You know, even though it's a large base, it's, you know, just fine printing flat. Even this rook that I printed, like that's a huge amount of surface area, but it didn't rip it off the bed. You know, these did, because like I said in the beginning, it had less surface area. But yeah, sorry, I probably was rambling a lot, but let me know if this video helped you guys with any different, you know, things that you guys have been printing or trying to figure out. And then hopefully for the next couple days I'll try to make a video of my actual settings, like on Nano DLP and Mesh Mixer and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.